Has LSU found something in Malaysia, and is Flaujae finally stepping up to be that leader that we all know that she can be? All right, so let's talk about this LSU-Ole Miss game real quick. There's honestly not too much to talk about because, let's be real, Ole Miss simply ran out of gas, if you ask me. Let's go over it. The first quarter, LSU outscored Ole Miss 26-21. Second quarter, Ole Miss outscored LSU 22-11. What happened there? Well, if you watch the game, you know that Flaujae started off on fire. I want to say she started off 3 for 3 or 4 for 4. She was talking stuff to the fans, and she was in her bag. She had a fire. Now, if you're a women's basketball fan, you know that the previous game, Flaujae missed 2 crucial free throws that could not have only tied the game, but put them in the seat to win the game, beating South Carolina, who I believe they've lost to 18 times straight. And if you're a baller, if you're a real hooper, you know that missed free throws in crucial moments of the game, they do something to you. They bring that dog out of you. I always say this. So, from what I've seen, players who are on the cusp of breaking out, usually you can tell the year before. They'll show signs the year before. And they always have that little crucial moment to where they are at the free throw line at the end of the game. And truth be told, a lot of times they miss those free throws. And over the summer or in the off season, then they grind, they get better, they shoot all of these free throws, and it just does something to you. It brings that dog out of you. So you can tell that Flaujae wanted revenge from that loss to South Carolina because of those missed free throws at the end of the game that she could have put them up and they possibly could have won the game. So I love the way that Flaujae responded to that. I love the way she came out. But I'm saying that to say, if you look at the second quarter, then LSU only scored 11 points in comparison to Ole Miss, who doubled that with 22. Well, what happened? Flaujae happened. Flaujae went out with a left ankle twist, and it's probably sprained, but they had a little dry spell because she went out of the game, and she was really the one who was carrying them when it came to offense and when it came to energy, because not only was Flaujae playing great offense, but she was doing the little things. She was leading her team, and that's what LSU, in my opinion, has been missing. Yes, I know that Flaujae has been having film with them, but that on-court leader who is an extension of the coach. I say this all the time. Every championship team has an extension of their coach on the floor. Every single championship team has that. That's why you see South Carolina and Raven Johnson. She's a great example of an extension of Dawn Staley. You have that in why am I going blank? In UConn, you have that with your championship teams. All right. It's usually your point guard, but not all the time, but usually it is. So let's see that. And then not only that, we had the third quarter where Ole Miss still outscored LSU by a score of 20-17. So that would have put them up. But then the fourth quarter hit, and Ole Miss just ran out of gas. It wasn't necessarily that LSU played so well. It was simply the fact that number 17, Ole Miss, ran out of gas, and LSU only won by 8 points because the fourth quarter, Ole Miss went completely cold. I think they were like 0 for 16 at one point. They only scored 7 points, and LSU scored 24 points. So you see how this made up for that. But I'm going to give LSU some credit. They did exactly what they were supposed to do with a tired Ole Miss. Is Ole Miss out of shape? No, we know Ole Miss is not out of shape. Or it's just the fact that they played a crazy number of games in a short amount of time, and they played ranked teams, so they played great competition. The game before, Cody McMahon broke a school record and put up 39 against Tennessee. So it's just natural that they ran out of gas, right? But let's talk about the second quarter or the second half for LSU. Let's spend some time on Milaysia, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on her. So before we talk about Milaysia, let's talk about how she ended up starting that second half. Well, I've been saying this about Michaela Williams. I love Michaela Williams' game. It is smooth. It's like butter. I love it. But what I don't love about her game is that she is too cool for me. Her and Madison Booker got this bad, in my opinion. They're too cool. And what I mean by that is if a lot of times if they're not scoring, if Michaela is not scoring, then I heard somebody else on a podcast, they say, you forget that she's out there. She's not doing anything else, or she's not bringing anything else to the table. If you're not scoring, Michaela Williams is like 6 feet, if I'm not mistaken. All right, that means that you are a big guard. You can rebound. You can rebound. You can play great defense. You can see the floor well and be a playmaker. But when you are not doing these things, then it hurts your team, and it's just taking up space on the court. Kim Mulkey even said that she reminds her of a LeBron James. To me, in my opinion, what makes LeBron James is so good is not necessarily his scoring ability, even though he can score, is everything else that he does on the court. And that's what Michaela Williams was not doing. She was not doing that everything else. It's only natural. If you are a scorer, then you are going to have nights to where the ball is just not it's not going in the basket for you. But does that mean that you are not valuable to your team? Absolutely not. Find a way to bring value to your team. Those are the best players. When you look at a Jordan, when you look at a Kobe, when you look at players like this, they were known for their defense. They were known to do other things on the court. I'm sorry, they were known for their scoring, but they also were known for their defense. They were known for doing other things on the court because they weren't just a one-trick pony. They were going to do other things. So Michaela Williams has to learn. She has to bring that dog out. If she does not, then LSU, I'm sorry, but they don't stand a chance when it comes to tournament time because there's only so much that Flaujae can do. Malaysia can do her part, but you don't know what you're going to get out of her. And then does LSU have that other scoring option? And when I'm thinking about it, I really can't. You got Jada who can score, and you got, some post players who can give you some things, but Michaela Williams is their best offensive player. So she has to be on the court in order for them to be successful. All right. But I will say this, Flaujae did step up in this game, and she played well, and she would have had more than what she had if she would not have gone down that second quarter. But LSU needs Michaela Williams in order to be successful. Hint, they only beat a tired Ole Miss by 8 points when she was not in the game. So what does this tell you? This tells you that they need her, because if Ole Miss had not run out of gas, I think that Ole Miss would have taken this game, just judging from the first 3 quarters. And I picked LSU to win, but I didn't know that Michaela Williams was going to get benched because she wasn't playing well. But if that just goes to show you that they can't beat a number 17. Mind you, LSU is a good team, but outside of Cody McMahon, who do they have as an option to score? I'll wait. Yeah, exactly. All right. So LSU, long story short, LSU needs Michaela Williams. All right. So let's go back to Flaujae. How did she get her start in this second half? Well, she got her start because, like I said, Michaela Williams was being trash. Let's just be honest. She was not playing well. So coach, in my opinion, did what coach should have done and benching her. Maybe it will light a fire under her. But we see when Malaysia came out aggressive. She was looking to score. She was looking to get to the rim. That's what I like to see out of Malaysia. She's not a great shooter, so I like to see her play an inside-out game. She reminds me of one of my teammates that I used to play with. Super athletic, could play, but she could not get going until she got a layup or a free throw. So that's who Milaysia reminds me of. Milaysia needs to get to that rack a lot of times before that outside shot gets going. But we see that she came out aggressive, going to the rim, and I like that. I like that in her. And also, I'll just say this. Now, she got to the rim, and she gets to the rim well because she's a quick guard. But what she and Flaujae need to do better, in my opinion, is they need to get better at finishing. They miss a lot of layups. Now, are these layups wide open a lot of times? Nah, they make wide open layups. You see Milaysia slap the backboard. You see Flaujae with her one hand. They make their layups in an open court, but in order to play on that next level, and in order to add a few more points, 4 or 6 more points to your average, then you need to be a better finisher. I think being a better finisher comes with getting a little bit stronger. But because you don't have time necessarily this season to build that strength, what I would suggest that they do, a lot of times they try to get all the way to the rim, but we got to remember that I love this as a player. We got our jump stop and we got our floater, all right? But you don't have to get there every time. If it's contact right there, boom, jump stop, float that ball up, all right? And get you to that way instead of trying to get all the way and just throwing up something. A lot of times that does not go in. Another thing we see out of Flaujae is that, I know I'm talking about Malaysia, but it's reminding me of Flaujae, and I wanted to talk about it. We see with Flaujae is that she, what was I going to say? Okay, I'll get back to it, but because it's going to bother me. Yeah, hopefully it comes back to me. But we saw that Milaysia, I remember when she missed, she got her offensive rebound. She put it back up. She came with an energy and she comes with energy off the bench, don't get me wrong. But it was a different type of energy. It was like a confidence. You could see her confidence, that it was a confidence booster for her starting that second half. And I think that they need that. She undoubtedly, her strength is the open court. You see her get a steal, and you would see her getting transition, and it was a beautiful thing to see LSU run. Transition is just so beautiful to me, especially when it is run the right way. Now, I did see her get frustrated a couple of times because Flaujae took a few too many dribbles a lot of times when they were in that open court. Flaujae should have either taking one dribble, boom, looked up, or no dribbles at all, because Malaysia was running, just threw that ball out there. Malaysia was gonna run that ball down and get that layup. But I think that Flaujae, yes, they do play together, but I don't think she was accustomed to playing Malaysia just that much to where, and I know they probably do this at practice, but it's different in practice in the game. She just got to get used to Malaysia running like that and hitting her, because a lot of times she would take 2 or 3 dribbles and Malaysia would be open for 1 or 2 seconds. That's all you need in basketball. And she would give that ball to her too late and the defense would catch up to her. So I saw Malaysia get a little frustrated about that, but nevertheless, I like the way that they looked in the open court, and I like the way that Malaysia was running. For a player like Malaysia, confidence is key. And okay, let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm about to say I can say this for another video, but let's talk about it now, and then we'll finish talking about some of the game. But what Malaysia is the type of player who, she has the talent for a big school. She has the talent to go to a South Carolina. She has the talent to go to a LSU. But because of her style of play, she is what we call high risk, high reward type player, which means that she's a risky player, but the reward is a lot of times great. Now, when you are playing for a championship caliber team, then sometimes this gets you in trouble, because that means that you're just not quite ready. And Malaysia, honestly, was LSU the right move? I made a video about this earlier. I can't answer this question yet. Because I haven't seen anything differently from her necessarily that I saw in South Carolina. I know it's about fitting her playing style. I think LSU does fit her playing style more, but yeah, I can't answer this, but what I can say is that if I were Malaysia, because I played a lot like Malaysia when I played, and especially as a younger player, I knew one speed, and I used my athleticism, and I was a player who had quite a few turnovers when I played, just because of the speed I played at and because I like to take risk. Well, for a player like that, you need to go somewhere to where you are going to play, because playing allows you to make those mistakes and to play through those mistakes and learn. What is important for a player like Milaysia is court time, playing through those mistakes and growing through those mistakes. And then maybe once you have two or 3 years under your belt, then you transfer to one of those bigger programs to where you are more developed. You understand the importance of taking care of the basketball. Not only do you understand it, I think she understands it, but there are just certain things that she needs to play through that, and the only thing that's going to help with that is playing time. So if I were her as going into a freshman in college, I probably would have chosen somewhere that was not a championship caliber team, just so that I could develop. So by junior, senior year, I could go to a program that was a championship type team. If she was up for that, or you can stay. You can stay. You don't have to leave. I know that is not popular now, but you can stay. I think that she would have been loved wherever she is. You see it with, okay, we've seen it with Hailey Van Lith, how she struggled at LSU, and Coach Mulkey tried to make her into a point guard. That didn't work for her. She completely tore her confidence down. I don't think it was a Coach Mulkey thing. I just think that she was in a role that she was not accustomed to being, but that's what they needed her to be. And honestly, it could have been preparing her for the next level too. But we saw how when she went to TCU, she shined. Well, TCU is not a championship caliber team, even though they did do well last season, largely because of Hailey Van Lith. And Hailey Van Lith naturally is a scorer. This is Milaysia as well. Milaysia is a scorer, and she's, as much as you want to make her a point guard, and I think that the next level, honestly, she's not tall, so she would, it's going to be tough, but, yeah, she's a scorer. She's just a scorer, so she would need to go to a program that allowed her to be Milaysia and play through those mistakes. So we can dissect that. Let me know what you guys think about Milaysia. I think I am so happy for her. I think that this was a huge confidence booster for her. Now she did get out there and have quite a few turnovers still, and I think that when Michaela comes back and play the way she needs to play, then I think it's still going to kind of be tough for her, because now we're getting into the nitty gritty of it, and every possession is going to count. And so when Milaysia goes in, yes, she will score you a basket, but she also will give you a turnover at the same time, and it's a crucial part in the season. And I'm not sure how Coach Mulkey will respond to that, if she'll leave her out there and allow her to continue to make those mistakes, or if she will sit her on the bench. I know that she wants what's best for her, but this is not Coach Mulkey's problem. This wasn't Don's problem either. It's just the fact that Milaysia has D1 talent, but she needs court time, and both programs are championship programs. So it's hard for her to get that in big time games. Now, when they're not playing as great as competition, absolutely. All right. Because they're usually blowing them out, and those possessions don't matter as much. But when you are playing those tough games, I remember Milaysia saying, Coach, you got to realize, telling Coach Mulkey that I have not been in at the end of the game. Well, as much as I love Milaysia, there was a reason why she wasn't in at the end of the game. Was she as talented as the girls out on the floor? Was she even more talented? Absolutely. But coaches play who they trust at the end of the day. And Coach could not trust Milaysia to take care of that basketball. So, but going back to, I think it was a huge booster for Milaysia. You can see Flaujae was happy for her. You see her teammates were happy for her. And I just hope that she can continue to build off of this. All right. So we can talk about the rest of the game. But when it comes down to it, Ole Miss just ran out of gas. LSU showed some zone there. They tried to slow down Ole Miss, which they did for a little bit. But it also gave Ole Miss some rest, just a tad. But it could not make up for the games that they had played previously. They just were exhausted. The first possession, they scored in the post. Then we see that they found a three-point shooter, and she knocked down a couple of threes. And the LSU got out of that zone, and they went back to man. But Another person that I like on LSU is I love Grace Knox. The timing of that tech was unfortunate, but LSU found a way to win. Like I said, you can't take away from them just because Ole Miss was tired. They did what they were supposed to do, and they found a way to win. So, but Grace Knox, you gotta let's talk about her real quick. Now, she didn't get much playing time this game, and you can tell that she's young, but you gotta have a Grace Knox on your team. You gotta have that player who has that energy. They kind of remind me of a player like Draymond or a player like Dennis Rodman back in the day. They're a little crazy, all right, but you want to have them on your team. You don't want to play against them, and they bring that energy and they have that passion for the game. You can see that in Grace Knox. One of the things that the commentator said about Grace is that when she first went to, I think it was Holly, back in September when they were practicing, if I'm not mistaken, my facts might be a little bit wrong on that, but I know that she said this. When Grace got there, a lot of times when you're in practice, you have players come in and out of the drill. Well, Grace stayed on the court, and she said that in order for me to play in the SEC, then I knew that if I could play in practice tired, then it would get me ready to play in the games. And you love that out of a player, because if you've ever played ball, you always know that you got those players who try to hide in the back of the line because they don't want to go because they're tired. And so for her to say that and understand that as a freshman, that's big time. All right, so I love Grace. But going back to what I said was that LSU did a great job of pushing the pace. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. I talked about how Flaujae missed Milaysia a few times. Ole Miss was so tired at the end of the game. They still had opportunities to win the game, but they were missing free throws. I want to say Cody missed a couple. Then you had their post player, and she missed a couple. They were airballing threes. So them folks were just tired at the end of the day. They were just tired. But like I said, you cannot take away from LSU because Flaujae did what she was supposed to do. Malaysia did what she was supposed to do, and they found a way to win. It's not their fault that Ole Miss was tired. All right, so that's pretty much the recap I have for that game. It wasn't much to say because Ole Miss did run out of gas. If they had not, I think that we would have been talking differently. I think that we would have been talking about how Michaela was not in the game. And people are talking about that anyway, but when you win, sometimes you dodge a bullet. So I hope that Michaela gets back on track as far as just bringing that dog out. You know, it's either in you or it ain't. It's either in you or it ain't. But now I hope that Coach got her attention and that she brings it out, because I love her game and I want to see more of her. Now, let's talk about games that we have tomorrow. We got Ole Miss versus South Carolina. Ole Miss did not have much of a break, but I know that Coach probably gave them a day off. They probably had like some light things to do. At this point in the season, is not too much that you can really do that's going to make a difference. You're going to run some plays. You're going to go over some things, your scouting report. So I just hope that they got some rest, because I hope that Ole Miss and South Carolina is a good game tomorrow. I'm going to go with South Carolina on that one because they've been playing well. That one is at 11 a.m. Central Time, and then we got Tennessee versus Oklahoma. I'm going to choose Oklahoma in this one. I think Tennessee is more athletic, but Tennessee has been everywhere. All right, and Coach Caldwell, she's young. I think she has potential to be a good coach, but I think that at this point of the season that she does not have complete control of that team, and it is showing. They are kind of emotionally unstable. But I will say that what they say in my movie, Remember the Titans, attitude reflects leadership. So we see how Coach Caldwell has been upset to the point to where she's called them out, and to the point to where she just walked past Coach Yo and really didn't shake her hand. Now, Coach Yo says she likes her, and I believe that, but out of respect, I don't care how mad you are. That's not the opposing coach's fault. You always take time and you shake their hand, even if it's quick. Just, hey, coach, hey, good game, coach, and you keep it moving. But the way she darted past them, I understand her frustration was not with Coach Yo, it was with her team. But you are the head of that team. You are the head coach, so you ought to show respect. It just goes to show that we are everywhere. But anyway, So I'm going Oklahoma with that one. That one's at 1 p.m. And then we got Kentucky versus Vanderbilt. I think that's going to be a good one. I had Kentucky as one of my sleepers for the year. And I also had Tennessee. I'm Xing Tennessee out. But I still think Kentucky has the ability to upset some teams. Do I think they're going to upset Vanderbilt tomorrow? They could, but I'm still rolling with Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt has been pretty solid throughout the year. And I like Michaela Blake. She's just, yeah. She got that dog in her. So I like her, but I hope that's a good game too. And that one's at 3 p.m. But let me know you guys' thoughts on this video. Let me know what you think about LSU. Let me know what you think about Michaela, Flaujae, Malaysia, and Kim. I mean, just whatever your thoughts are. Let me know what you think about them. Let me know what you think about Ole Miss. I love what Coach is doing in Oxford, and I also love, I also think that Cody McMahon has found her match in Coach Yo. Excuse me, unfortunately, she is a senior this year, but I love what I'm seeing out of them. Let me know your thoughts on that, and let me know your thoughts on the game tomorrow. All right, so as always, I appreciate y'all watching. Till the next video.